Here is another pass at this study, and what I'm going to do is a couple things. I'm going to, on this second one here, show you how I would sort of keep building up what I was doing, and could have done it in the first pass possibly, but I was happy with the way things were drying and how they were even. And so I kind of let it dry, even though I knew I was going to come back, need to come back quite a bit, that much more, with that much more dark color. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, the last time I started with just plain water, but this time I'm going to actually start with some really light quinacridone rose, and it's basically the same color that's already there. I'm going to mix up a little bit of Quin burnt orange. This is still from that original mix. That's hopefully that's in frame, barely. That's some of the mixed color, quinacridone rose and quinacridone burnt orange. So I can certainly start with just clear water, or I can also start with just a watery mix of the quinacridone rose, and that won't have a huge effect, but it will have sort of an overall building up effect, which is one of the things I love doing with watercolor. And with that sort of gradual buildup, even of the same value of color, it can make things, if not that much darker, more intense. Now it's still pretty damp down here, so I can drop in, as long as it's not too watery, a little bit of darker color. I'm not going to venture into the areas that I think are, probably already drying. That's a little bit more quinacridone burnt orange. Dropping it into the corner. Once again, being aware of if I'm bringing in watery, darker color or not too much water. You don't want to bring in too much water, because then it'll start drying really unevenly. Let's see if we can do something like that with the this cylindrical bowl thing. So I'm going to start off again with really watery Quin rose. It's really not that much darker than what's already there. I encourage you to start playing a little bit more with brush strokes and oh, this is where I do that thing where I'm not prepared with a mixed color. I've been doing that quite a bit, so I'm going to try to remember to not do that. It's best to have, well, it's easiest to have some color pre-mixed. I think think I'm so familiar with doing it that I just go for it. But I would encourage you to have those colors mixed up first of all. Look here, there's an imperfection. So that whole shape is still pretty wet. I'm going to bring in a little bit more stronger of the Quinn Rose, just because I know I can. I'm going to do one of these things right now. And I can tell it's drying quite a bit up there, and it's quite damp down here. So in the interest of trying to give it a sporting chance to dry cleanly with a clean transition, I'm going to let go of that shape. It may still not dry. I'm looking at it at an angle, and you can really tell from the sheen. I'm going to get rid of this watery color. That'll just help, hopefully help the whole thing dry somewhat evenly. I could panic about that, but I'm not going to do that. Cool, and then I'll just keep building up. More of that later. That looks interesting how the reflection is making that look not like it really does, but kind of cool. Either way, okay.